University, the voice of Reichman University.
The Baseline. Stories from the court with Jonathan Rears and Meir Cohen.
What's going on, guys? We're back here today, the Baseline Podcast, Jonathan Rears, Meir Cohen, and we have a very, very special guest today. Welcome to the special episode with Hapoel Tel Aviv owner, Ofer Yannay.
Very tired guest.
Thank you for coming on.
We're very happy to have you on here today. This is our deep into our third season here. We're finishing up our studies at this university, but we're able to use this awesome studio. We've essentially worked really hard to give a voice to overseas players, overseas fans, coaches. In our 3 years, we've done that. So we've been able to really move along and understand so many different stories from players. And from understanding that stories with players, especially overseas, what we realize is how many people are behind the scenes in everything that happens within overseas basketball. And who better to talk to and who better to explain it to us for someone who is now at the very head and leading a very game-changing time in Israeli sports and EuroLeague sports. So thank you for coming on. We'll hope to get into all of it today.
Well, I have some behind-the-scenes stories for sure.
We're looking forward. Typically, I ask the guests when they come on, I say, when was like the first time you picked up a basketball, the first time you played basketball? For your story, which I'm sure is very different, I just kind of want to know about your personal upbringing and whether... At what point did kind of sport become something that you're so passionate about to the point where it became a vocal point of your business? Or was that kind of a second thought, business first, basketball came later?
Well, I grew up in Yavne. We were like a family, I wouldn't say poor family, but not a wealthy family for sure. Like middle class or low middle class, 8 kids. We used to sleep like 2 in a room, something like that. So there were two sports that were relevant when I was young. One was soccer, one was basketball. The reason I stayed in basketball is because at one point I moved to a new school, and then there was a soccer match, and for me it was like the first time. And the guy on the second team that was leading the second team was like the best player, and we won 3-2. And this guy started to cry, and I said, "Hey Yossi," his name was Yossi. I said, "Hey Yossi, don't cry. I'm not going to play soccer anymore. I'm just going to play basketball." This is how I got focused on basketball. By the way, this guy later on became the captain of Maccabi Yavne, and then the coach of Maccabi Yavne. So he became focused on soccer. So for me, this was like the moment I decided to put my attention into basketball. And I think basketball is a phenomenal sport. You have so many happy moments and spiritual moments when you watch the game of basketball. And something that it's a privilege to experience this game also from the owner position, and from an owner that is trying to build something special. It is a privilege to experience this game also from this point.
For you personally, I did a little bit of research of what you've done up until now professionally, and there's been lots of stops along the way. And I'm very curious, what were some things that you learned from your past experiences? As we talk to players, so we know that in this experience they learned who they can trust and who they can't trust. So talk to us a little bit about your initial experience as a professional, as an entrepreneur in your career, and kind of what that path looked like to eventually lead to where you are today.
Kind of a broad question.
Yeah, very. I take it however you'd like.
I just want to say something about another owner, Matan Edelson. I don't know if you had him, the chance to interview him, because he's a great guy. I think you should have him. I gave him a call. He was like, a guy that is kind of all business and kind of always rational and everything. And they won the last game of the season against Maccabi after tying the game, and then they won the game. And at the end of that, there was a minute you can see him in television, and he was crying. So I called him the day after. I told him, Matan, I'm calling to congratulate you on the win, but also on a great owner moment, because this is like for me, this is like the best moments, and you should be able to resonate with the feelings. As an owner, you experience so many difficulties, so many difficult emotions, right? You have the disappointment, you have when you get angry. When I say that if people talk to me after we lose, I can. I can divorce if somebody talks to me. If my wife, I'm not married now, but if my wife would talk to me after we lost, it can happen in divorce. You become extremely emotional, right? But having the moment of like the good feelings, this is something that is wonderful. I experienced that when we won the Euro Cup, and also when I think in the games against Valencia. But Matan had this moment, and it was an amazing moment. As you said, I'm an entrepreneur. Somebody asked me, from time to time, I give lectures. I gave lectures like 2 weeks ago, asking what's like the most important things to succeed in life. I said, a good sense of humor, understanding that the world can be amusing, a lot of optimism, and I think the thing that you should also add is always modeling the world. How things are, how do they work, how they can work better, what is everybody missing, because everybody is always missing something. And I did that in my main business, which is the renewable energy. Very successfully managed to bring up my company from a single-person company to a very big, most dominant company in Israel, changing the market, adding a lot of rooftop, then floating PV, then storage system in Israel when it was very, very early, and then taking it global and operating in 10 different electricity market now. But in basketball, it's different. It's different because there are so many things that are not up to you, right? As my mother says, it's why are you putting your effort in something that is depend on the ball, that can go inside or inside the hoop or not? There's a big portion of uncertainty, more than you have in business. This is one difference. The second difference, I think, is that everything is extremely, extremely emotional, more than business, more than regular business can also be emotional, but in sport it's kind of amplified. I think that when you are handling this building of a sport team, it makes you a better business person. First, you have like the public, you become like a public figure, and if you're a public figure that is connected to positive things, and I think currently my public figure is connected to a positive thing, to some kind of Israeli chutzpah, to some kind of achieving something that is considered to be unachievable. And as Israelis, we love this moment, right? We love the beeper stuff moment. And so this is one positive thing. So you have more connection, you have more deal flow that come in your way. But the other thing, it improves you as a business person. You have to be extremely sharp and to get the decisions faster than you do in business. You love the player, but you know that he's not in shape. You need to bring another player. If not, then you're going to lose the game. You're going to lose the title. So this is kind of makes you better as a business person. Maybe you should go like with more focused questions.
No, it's great. Keep it coming. But you say like you work with that Israeli chutzpah, and there's people who may have said this year that your moves are unprecedented or that you do things that aren't normal typically. Yeah. So what do you kind of have to say about your approach to how you've brought up Hapoel Tel Aviv so quickly?
Well, I think that now everybody understands, right? Everybody understands the move. No one should be able, or not everybody should be able to understand the move you are making at the beginning. If they would understand it, then they would have been the billionaires, right? They would have been the entrepreneurs, the big business guys. You see guys that are good businessmen and good entrepreneurs. They're making moves that at some point nobody understands, but then you understand. Then you understand the system, and then you understand the plan. And I think my plan for me, what I identified that European basketball is on the verge of a huge change. I identified the fact that there are pressures that are kind of crumbling European basketball from all around. And when you have these moments come, I don't know, once in a decade. The last time this happened, it was like in the year 2000, and it ended up with the establishment of EuroLeague. So when you have this moment, this chaotic moment, right? When you have like the earthquake, there's going to be the earthquake, so the shoreline is going to be there, so I better start purchasing the land here because there I'll put my new hotel. So why is he buying this land? There's nothing there. Okay, because the sea is going to be there, he knows that. So this was like my understanding, the fact that European basketball is going to change. And I understood that we can make it with Hapoel, and that I have like really, really zero time to make it. So I really have to move as fast as I can.
Does that change also have to do with like something like NBA Europe?
Yeah, for sure. NBA Europe is the... think now of European basketball. European basketball was some kind of a bubble, that you had great basketball, great figures, but no business approach. If you look back on numbers, the revenues for big soccer club and big basketball club today and 20 years ago, they were bigger 20 years ago, but the increase in revenues is 4 times X in soccer club. So soccer has elevated as a business, but European basketball hasn't. But basketball as a business is elevating all around the world. So you have the Australian League, which is great. You have the Japan League, which is very, very good. And you have NCAA, and you have NBA. So what is happening now is that all of those leagues decided to have more and more money. So you have this pressure. This summer, by the way, there are no players. The fact that we managed to bring those players this summer, and the inflation in the salaries of players, not just in Hapoel. Everybody says I'm overpaying, but they don't understand the reality. The reality is everybody is overpaying comparing to what happened 2 or 3 years ago. Why? Because the Japanese league, the TV right agreement for the Japanese league is $400 million. It means a lot of money for every team, right? So Marcus Foster played for me for $400,000. And we wanted to give him a new contract. We considered 700, maybe 800, to double his salary. We were not sure he's going to be top in EuroLeague. He called me. He told me, listen, Ofer, I have an offer from Japan. And he explained about the offer. It was $1.5 million offer. I told him, listen, Marcus, the economics of a basketball player contract is difficult. Because this year you finished an amazing year with Hapoel. You scored the most important shot, right? 2 points against Valencia.
Right, that's big.
I didn't have the chance to watch this shot because I was reading Tehillim on court in that moment. But I've watched it multiple times after that. So, and all the focus was on you. You had a chance to play a lot in a very good Euro Cup team. Next year, we're going to go to the EuroLeague. We're going to go to the EuroLeague. There are going to be more players. Some of them are going to be senior than you. So you will not play as much. So you had the best year to put yourself on display, and I think you should cash out now. I think you should take this contract and take care of your family. But this situation happened because there's so much money in Japanese league. Now colleges, they offer a lot of money for players. So young players go to colleges. NBA Europe is coming. So all of this pressure, all these financial pressures, they are shaking European basketball. I understood that before everybody, and I knew I don't have a lot of time to elevate Hapoel, because when I took Hapoel, it was, let's say, maybe a playoff Israeli team, no more than that. So I had to move. I have to move quick.
So August of 2023, if you correct me if I'm wrong, that's the date where you kind of get involved in
14th of August.
14th of August. Mm-hmm. So you obviously have this mindset, you have this approach, you have the vision. You see all these things, you're going to see how it unfolds down the line, which, as you just explained to us. When you walk into that building, tell us about how are you able to just explain your vision to everybody there? Because people there have probably been working there for a long time. They don't really understand how the league is changing. Maybe they see Hapoel as a small club and it'll always be a small club.
Well, I think this is the most difficult task. And in Gran Canaria, after we won the title, it was a Friday. I'm a religious guy, so I walked from the game to the hotel. I was escorted by Izar Shai and his wife. They're not religious, but they told me, solidarity, we come and meet you. And then, right after that, there was the Seder. So I had to spend the time there. So I did my Seder alone, but I wasn't exactly alone, because there were like another 25 fans that stayed because they wanted to do it with me, and there was some kind from the local community that also came. And then they asked me, I said, "Can you say a few words?" I said, yeah, you know what? There's something that is in my mind. I told him, we in the Seder we read the story about the redemption of Israel, right? Led by Moses. When you think of Moses, he's like the most powerful leader ever, right? Because he has God on his side. He split the sea, and he brought all of those plagues into into Egypt. But when Moses comes to Pharaoh for the first time, he's not saying, let my people go for good. He's saying, let my people go for 3 days. And I've always wondered, why does he have to lie? Because he's like, he has the absolute power. So why doesn't he go with like the big vision immediately? Let my people go. We're going, right? We're going to become the Israelis, the most the most famous nation. I don't know, 3,000 years from now, nobody's going to care about Egypt, but we are going to be the one. So why is he not going ahead with the big vision? And the answer is, it doesn't matter how powerful you are. When you're dealing with the public and you need the support of the public, you have to go step by step. Because let's say Moses would say, let my people go for good. Then maybe he had the power, but then the Israelis wouldn't trust him. When he starts with, okay, we'll go for 3 days, it makes sense. We can go for 3 days. And then he kind of takes it forward. I'm not sure I had the clear vision when I just entered Hapoel, but I also knew that the biggest challenge is to explain this vision to the guys of Hapoel. At the beginning, I don't think they really trusted me, and now I think they trust me more because of 2 things. First, they know I deliver whatever I said, and whatever I promised, I keep my promises. And the second thing, I think they really appreciated the fact, as you said, August 23. But August 23 was in the old world. The world changed in October 23. And after October 7, I did a lot of things to support the community. And these are moments that you really can kind of become closer to people. So also emotionally, they trust me more. And I hope that we'll be able to make Hapoel the great club that I want him to be.
So some people were a bit upset when you guys moved from Shlomo to Menorah.
Yeah.
A lot of the main core fans of Hapoel Tel Aviv, because they resonate with the team being there in Shlomo, and it's Maccabi Tel Aviv's gym and so. So how do you, with keeping the fans involved in the vision that you have, explain more about that change?
It's been a process. Some of the more vocal fans, passionate fans, the ultras organizations, one of the most important things for them was we're not playing in what they call Yad Vashem. This is the nickname they have for the menorah. Hey, it is terrible. And I can understand this kind of ideology, how it evolved. I've had a chance to have a meeting with them, with the leaders, and I told them something. Guys, maybe this, I think that we're kind of saying things that are a bit too deep, but I'll say that anyway. I told them, guys, listen, I think that I understand and I respect your ideology, but I want to explain to you how I explained my daughter how come the Israelis has come back to Israel after 2,000 years. I told it happened because of two groups in the population. One is the religious, because they kept the Jewish religion, which kind of gave some kind of framework for all the guys in the diaspora to still be like one nation. This was one reason, and the other reason is because of the unreligious, right? The guys that left the religion. Why? Because roughly 120 or something like years ago, you had this moment when Zionism started. And David Ben Gurion, starts his life as David Green. And he's a yeshiva bochur. He's like started in yeshiva. And he goes to his rabbi and says, I think I'm going to say, no, the religion forbids you to go to Israel. And then this guy leaves the religion and he's moving forward to go to Israel. So I think this is a great example, the story of our people, right? It's a great example that an ideology serves you, but there's some point that you need to flip the ideology. And this is what I told the ultras. This ideology, we don't go in, we are the opposite of Maccabi. It served you for the difficult years that I really appreciate the fact you supported the team, you supported the club through all of these years of disappointment. I admire that. But now, don't forget, you did all that, you did that as a mean, it was not an end, right? You didn't you want to keep the team, keep the club, and now there's the moment that the club can become successful. So now you need to change. And now you need to support the move. I told them I think that they are the one that should lead the move to Menorah. But they didn't took that challenge, and I had to do it without them and against the resentment.
And why move to Menorah?
You cannot be a big team if you keep playing in a 4,500 seats arena. And when you look on arenas, you have Menorah, which is, I think it's an old, very not up-to-date arena, but it's the biggest arena in Tel Aviv area. So we have to use the best arena we have.
There's rumors that you want to build a different new arena for Hapoel.
I will build a new arena, a new modern arena. I think Hapoel needs it, and I also think the state of Israel needs this kind of arena. Last summer, my daughter took me to Bologna to watch Olivia Rodriguez. You guys probably know who this is. I have no idea. And after that, she took me to watch Taylor Swift. So I asked myself, it's like a big event. But Olivia Rodriguez, the show was in the arena of Virtus Bologna. So I asked myself, why don't we have this kind of show in Israel? And the answer is, Menorah arena is too small. And it's already fully booked with Israeli artists. You need to have like a bigger arena that can also host the international artists. So this project is going to be a very economical project, and it's going to be the project that Hapoel will enjoy from.
And then at what point, so you talk about that transition of ownership from August 14th, 2023, and then I believe July of 2024, when you kind of take a step up in the ownership. You go from 50% to 80%. Mm-hmm. So were any of the decisions that you're making at that time, once you get that, you already had the majority of ownership. So what exactly changed from the 50% to the 80%?
Well, the fact that I understood that people in the system, they don't really understand the concept of ownership. This is to make it like very, very short. The first year, I was like, okay, I'm not taking any decision. I'm just learning. But then there were like small things that I thought that should happen. And I asked the guy that was running everything, can you make that happen? He said, yeah. And he didn't do it. So at that point, you understand that something is not working in the right way. And we also, it was like a player like Tel Aviv, what was a very good player. I was convinced that he should stay for another year. Can you please extend the contract for Taylor Anis? Yes, he didn't do it. And then he went to Venice. Jalen Horde, we need to extend the contract of Jalen. Yes, and then not. So we're losing Jalen. So okay, so we have a problem because if I'm putting the money, I want to make sure that my money is handled in the right way. And then the second thing was that my clear understanding was that this year we need to move to start. We don't have to do it immediately, but we need to move to Menorah Arena and become eligible to be a EuroLeague team, because next year we're going to be a EuroLeague team. And when I tried to go with this guy forward, he was just sabotaging this in every way he could. And at some point, I told him, his name was Rami. I said, Rami, listen, you're the one that the community of Hapoel appreciates. You have this public equity, right? They appreciate you, they know you. So you are the one that can help with this transition to make it easy for everybody. But I need you to understand something. The situation that we have now, I have my baby inside. We are both standing outside of the room, and my baby is inside of the room. And now there's a fire that's starting inside of the room. So the room starts to go on fire. And you have the key to the door. And I'm asking you, open the door so I can take the baby out. And you are stalling. So you need to understand something. I will go inside this room. If I need, I'll break the door, I'll break the window, I'll break the wall. I will go inside this room and I'll take the baby out. You are the one that can make it happen without pains, right? You have the key. Open the door. Let's make it happen. So I think he didn't understand how determined I was to make this move, and because of that, it was kind of a process that I think hurt him more than everybody else. Also hurt me, but you know.
And with Rami, you actually have spoke about even before the Euro Cup when you already were planning for the future, and I heard about you going with Rami to these meetings. Secret meetings or whatever, where I
took Rami in the Final Four in Berlin.
Right.
So I took him there, and Matan Kaplan and his wife, And we had these meetings with other teams, and you're referring to what I was saying about in John Holland podcast.
Exactly.
So there's a funny story that connects. So the story was, I'll tell it because probably not everybody heard that podcast, is that we want to have some meetings with the EuroLeague team owners. So some of them said, okay, we'll meet you at the Hilton, where everybody was. But some of them said, no, I don't want to meet there. Let's meet in your own hotel, which was like 5 minutes walk. So, okay, why? We don't want Maccabi to know that we're meeting him. So, okay. And then we have this meeting. So I said to Rami, listen, we have like a secret meeting, but we have, it's like having an affair, but not with a 25-year-old beautiful young woman, but with an 80-year-old Italian. So I was referring to one of the GMs. So this GM, he sent me the text. I've listened to your podcast. Very interesting. By the way, I'm 64 years young.
That's awesome. That's great. Wow. So it's funny because they take these secret meetings, and then Hapoel Tel Aviv becomes this major big team in Euro Cup.
The powerhouse.
The powerhouse of Israel now.
Yeah, the powerhouse.
And a lot of people might say, even if you watch basketball just to watch the basketball side of things, you might say that Hapoel Tel Aviv might have been a Euro Cup team this year, but they were the dogs in Israel. This is the team of Israel, of Tel Aviv now.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I agree with that.
What makes Hapoel Tel Aviv now so important for EuroLeague and so important for Israel to bring basketball up in Israel?
Let's start with Israel, because I think there's one aspect we didn't cover, and it's an important aspect. How did you guys, you're not Israelis, right? You're American?
I'm American, he's Israeli.
Israeli, but you have a good American accent, so same. How did you experience October 7?
I was here. We were in university here. We was waiting to be able to come back to university. We see all of our friends go to war, all of them back to Miluim, all of them go to fight, family members. I mean, I would say I experienced it like somebody who was living here. I was here for university. I wasn't a tourist. I was here. I was here throughout the whole process, or the entire war, that war, and this war. You could tell it's changed the public, but also, of course, everybody talks about the resilience people have.
So this day was a horrible day, and I'm in my company in Ofar. We work with those kibbutzim that are in the area, so I lost many friends in that day that were killed. But going back, I think that I was sad, right? I was angry that day, but I also felt a bit humiliated, because Israel is a strong country, and you have these guys that come in with those Toyotas and with flip-flops, and they come and murder people. So this was kind of a moment of humiliation. So I think one of the extra motivations I had in the year of 2023, 2024 was to see how we can respond. And of course, I'm talking actually about the last year. How can I respond to this moment of humiliation? And my inner motivation was very simple. They tried to break our spirit that day. I want to show that our spirit is strong. They tried to show that we cannot win, so we will win. And this was the motivation the extra motivation I had for this crazy year. And I really kind of took it forward. It's not only the money, it's the fact that they didn't let us play here. So we had all of these flights, which is so difficult, right? Even if you are young, at some point I understood how difficult it is mentally. So I started to fly with the players to every game. And they know how busy I am, and they see me there. And, I'm sitting in court and I'm doing my business talks, and they understand why I'm there, to support them. So it was kind of a journey that brought everybody together, and it ended in the best the best possible way.
You also have October 8th, the first EuroLeague Maccabi Tel Aviv Hapoel Tel Aviv game, but it's in Belgrade,
which is kind of ludicrous.
Right? Why is it not happening in Menorah?
Why aren't the game back in Israel? Well, I know we had this kind of whatever we had, but now everything is cool. Nothing is on. It's not clear why the games are not back in Israel.
Is it true that you offered a Polish team to pay for all of their accommodation just so that they can come play here?
And they said they will.
And the league vetoed it?
Yeah. Why? And I said to the league, how? listen, let's say you don't want, you taking care of the safety. So if some team says, I'm willing to come, I see no problem, let them do it. They didn't agree to, because there's a lot of politics in this. And I told to Paulus Motayunas, I've met him in Abu Dhabi, he's the CEO of EuroLeague. I told him, listen, what you're experiencing now is the same situation as Israel had in the Eurovision. The establishment is against Israel. And the establishment of the EuroLeague now, with all the teams and with all the politics and everything, they're against Israel. It has nothing to do with safety. If there was a safety issue, then there would be no Israeli league. The fact that the Israeli league, right, the FIBA allows an Israeli league to happen, it means there's no safety issues. It's safe enough here to play. So it's not about safety, it's about politics. But I told you, but what you're missing, Paulus, is the fact that in the Eurovision, when you finish the votes of the establishment, Israel was in 16th place. But then they went to the popular vote, to the vote of the public, and Israel was number 1 and ended in the combined number 2. So I told him, listen, basketball is about the fans. And the fans, they want to come to Israel. And we miss our Serbian friends, we miss our Greek friends, we miss our Spanish friends, we miss our Italian friends. They want to come to Israel. Why are you holding back from the fans of basketball to have a chance to come to Israel? This is something that is wrong. And I think by building this year a team, I think we've made a great move forward to bring the games back. Because for all guys that love basketball, and I think that God loves basketball too, I think it's going to be very clear that it's going to be a very big sin if the team of Hapoel will play in an empty arena. So for all the basketball lovers out there, push forward to bring back the games for Israel. This is what everybody needs to do.
So on that topic, with a lot of politics surrounding this team, of course, this is something that's not new to the understanding of Israeli leagues abroad, whether it's across all sports. But now you're facing this uphill battle of speaking to these athletes and trying to recruit and build this massive team that's going to be successful in the EuroLeague, with the added challenge of, hey, we don't know if we're going to have any home games. You might need to be on a plane every other day. You might need to do this and that, and they don't know. So your recruitment is, difficult from that perspective, but I'm curious, that perspective I want to hear about. And also, players you're dealing with, they might not want to come to Israel for a million other reasons. So how are you able to pitch to them and be so successful as you have with everything against you?
I think the funniest moments we had in the talks we had with players was seeing Coach Itudis trying to dismiss the fact that an Iranian rocket hit the Da Vinci building that he was living. It's kind of trying to make it like it's not a big deal. It didn't hit my flat; it hit the pool. So it was extremely funny to watch. When we started, we wanted to bring, for example, Goodrich, but then and Shorts. But then we had a problem with the Iranian. It was clear that we can't bring anyone at that situation when we can't tell them where we're going to play. So we took a bold decision, a hard decision, but I think that was necessary. We said, we're going to play in Sofia. The base is going to be in Sofia. And we will go to Israel when the war is over. So now when you deal with the players, okay, now there's war, but when the war is over, we're going to go back to Israel. So now you can sign the players. I had a lot of Zoom calls with players that were afraid because there was a lot of Greeks on the Zoom call. I had the chance to quote Pericles. Pericles' famous quote says, even if you don't have interest in politics, at some point politics will take interest in you. And saying, guys, defeating Iran is important for everybody. It's important for you because these guys, when they'll have the nuke, they can nuke Belgrade, they can nuke Paris just for fun because they're lunatics. The leadership is lunatic. So we're doing the world a big favor. And we managed to keep it together. So we were successful, but we had to work really hard on this.
And then there's like a rumor that I heard that Elijah Bryant and Oturu, of course, the talks were already before Iran. Then once Iran happened, it was
Elijah
a bit
Bryant
in
on
the
a
air.
tour I closed in Abu Dhabi week. I went to Abu Dhabi, we closed the deal
And then
there.
they wanted to like get out of the
They
contract
were afraid. So
because they were scared.
Yeah.
And now they're only going to be playing in Belgrade, but they won't come to Israel.
No, they will come to Israel. Everybody is going to come to Israel, but I had to invest a lot of time in convincing them. And I told the agent, I spoke to the agent of Elijah Bryant. I said, no, he doesn't know what to do. And I said, can you quote me? I said, yes, tell Elijah, I thought that is going to be my pearl of great price. He said, what is that? I said, just tell him these words. And this is a famous book of Mormons, but nobody really knows it. And Elijah is a Mormon, so I knew that for him it would be very important to hear those words. So they decided to stay, and they're coming, and everything is great. And then, of course, we have Micić. You want to talk about Micić?
Please.
So yeah, when we walked in, we were talking about how you are involved with the team hands-on, but when it comes to talks with players,
Negotiations,
Micić was,
it's the only one that really had, that wanted to negotiate just with me was Vasa. He's a great guy, and recruiting him was really an interesting process. At the beginning, we had this talk. He was still an NBA player, so I'm not sure I'm coming. I explained to him about Hapoel. And you hear from this guy mentality is like a guy that really loves to work, and he has his construction company. And do you know what's the meaning of what's the translation of Hapoel? So no, I said, well, it's the worker. This is the meaning of Hapoel. So he really loved it. And it was like the first conversation, and then on and off. And at some point, I started negotiation with his agent, and the numbers were crazy. So unrealistic expectations. And I told to his agent at one point, I said, listen, enough with this. I want to know that Vaza wants to come, doesn't want to come, say, yeah, wants to come. But then when we start the part of negotiation, again, it's like, it just doesn't make sense. So we said, okay, we part ways, and we don't handle anymore. I'll go back to that moment because I said something to them, but let me go back to that in a few seconds. And after a few weeks, and I met him in Abu Dhabi. And hi, how are you? His father doesn't speak English. Great guy. I really love the fact of the way he respects his father. You see like the personality. And after that, we were under fire, right? And you have all kind of talks from agent. Oh, my player is afraid to come. But then you have Vasa writing to me, listen, my father and myself want to tell you, we are Serbian, we understand what war is. We hope you and your family are safe. We hope you will get through this. You have a full support and everything. So I said, this is kind of touches your heart, right? So I call George Hinas, say, George, we start negotiation with Micić, right? So yes, I extend another offer. Say, why? I say, just send me this text. I'm sending you this text. I really appreciate it. Send him another offer. Let's stay in the game. So this was like coming back to negotiation with him. And then you had to go for the last, with all those big clubs wanting him. And I think the personal relationship really changed that at the end. And also what changed is the fact that we are giving him some of the money in shares, which makes us, I think, a business-savvy club. But also him kind of differentiated from the other players in Europe. And it can also make him a lot more money if the NBA Europe, especially if NBA Europe will come and Hapoel will become an NBA Europe team. But there was another moment, and this moment is I'm coming back to that conversation when I said, okay, we're not going to talk anymore, which is kind of a mystical moment. I don't know how you feel with the mystical part of life. I know life has a mystical side, but everybody thinks different about it. So at the end of that conversation, I told Vaza and his agent, said, listen, Vaza, we part in ways now, but there's something I have to tell you. And you and Igor is the agent. And I want you to know that in my life, I had this moment of clear vision regarding the future. And this moment, it never failed me. Whenever I had this moment of clear vision, what's going to be in the future, this thing happened. And you're not going to be a Hapoel player, I understand that now. But I want you to know that I had a vision that, as I said, never failed me in the past. I had a vision that you're going to be a Hapoel player. So I'm just telling you that, and bye-bye. This is how it's ended. And after we closed the agreement, he calls me. It's 3 a.m., I think 4 a.m., very, very late. He calls me as a boss, thank you very much. Thank you for the contract, appreciate. I just want to tell you a story. I said, sure, Vaza, what's the story? He tells me, you remember what you told me about the vision? I say, yes. I want you to know my girlfriend had the same thing.
Wow.
She woke up in the morning. She said, Vasa, I had a dream. I cannot relax from a dream. It's such a strong dream. I said, what happened? What happened? You're going to play for Hapoel. I said, well,
Boom.
I told him, Vasa, this is not fair. You should have told me that earlier. I would pay less.
The contract is 3 years, 17 mil.
The numbers that are out are not right. And
Okay.
I don't want to disclose the number, but he has a very good contract. And what people don't understand is that he got less money from Hapoel than he had from Real Madrid or from Fener. He could have gotten more money from other teams. So he chose to come to Hapoel. Of course, he got great money, but
Right. But you also, you speak on that you put in shares into that. So,
you want me to extend on that?
yeah, I'd love to.
If you go now, you look on the valuations of NBA teams. What is the valuation of an NBA team?
Billions.
Billions. Last for how much Jerry Buss bought the Lakers?
10 billion?
No. The recent sale.
Ah,
Jenny
back then.
sold the Lakers now for 10.5 billion. But her father, he bought the Lakers. I think it was like I don't know, few millions. So if you look and you count, and in life you study economics. So one of the most important concepts is indexation. What is the indexation, right? How things are CPI'd. So the indexation or the return on the basketball team, the accumulated return for Jerry Buss was over 20%. This is indexation for sport teams. It means the value goes higher, and especially if you're going to have this moment, those tectonic moments like you have now European basketball, it means the value can go extremely high, extremely fast. I bought in Gili Ranan for valuation 100 million. Less than half a year later, Mickey Malka goes in, valuation of 180 million. If Hapoel will become a permanent member in EuroLeague, the minimum valuation for that is 500 million. This is the money that Maccabi negotiate now to sell Maccabi to other guys, between 500 and 600 million, like permanent EuroLeague member. So the valuation can triple. And if you become an NBA licensed team, so the EV is going to be at least 1 billion. You will need to pay 500 million for the license. So the EV, the valuation is going to be like 500 million US dollar to start with, right? So valuation of basketball teams can go really significant. So every $1 million Vasa is getting in equities, in 3 years from now, it can be worth $10 million or $30 million. So this is a concept he understood. And this, I think, gives it an advantage. Of course, you're not going to give it to every player, but you are giving it to the player that is arguably the best player in Europe, that is coming to you and not to other clubs, that they also will never offer him that. I don't think Fener has the same concept of equity as we, right? And of course, Real will not have the same. They see themselves as a powerhouse at this time. They will not share equity. We see ourselves as a powerhouse, but is on the rise. So we are willing to give stocks, to give shares. And I think this is also something that really helped to close the deal.
How close do you think NBA Europe is?
I think it's inevitable, because EuroLeague needs to take decisions, and they're not taking the decisions. I had the dinner with Bodiroga. Bodiroga is the chairman of EuroLeague. I had a conversation with him in Belgrade. I had the dinner in Belgrade with Bodiroga. Bodiroga is the chairman of EuroLeague. I told him, listen, the only way you can survive this with all those pressures is you need to extend the EuroLeague for 24, maybe 30 teams. But it comes with a toll. If there's so many teams, there are going to be much more games, right? And already you have problems with the load of games. This year they're going to have like 10 double weeks. And then you need to fix the relationship with the local league. How do you use the local league when you play for EuroLeague? So the system is the system that we will try to start to demonstrate this year, is to take a wider roster, and that some of it will play only in the local league. And the EuroLeague roster will rotate with that wider roster, with that wider core. So it means the Israeli league is kind of a development league, and also a way to keep the players that play for the EuroLeague but are not playing the EuroLeague in shape. So this is going to be like the concept. So you need to fix that. because this is true, but how the Spanish team will react, because Spanish league is strong, maybe even stronger than the EuroLeague at some point. And the third thing you need to take care of is kill the agreement you have with IMG, their partner for marketing, which has done a horrible job for the last decade, and move forward and start to make money. These are the three things you need to do.
Does that mean you're signing more players?
Yeah, we're gonna have like a very wide roster regarding imports. We're done, and we are looking for a 4 with shooting skills. But the 4 with the shooting skills that we're looking for has to be top player, like I don't know, Nigel Davis level or something. So now we're looking at some kind of NBA level players that won't find a contract in the NBA. If you can lure one of them to come to us, we will complete the roster.
So I want to hear more about the NBA Europe, because I'm curious about that. But also another aspect I wanted to get into was kind of, as you're talking about now, I can hear your recruitment of players. Now, of course, that this is, maybe there's more people involved in the decision, but from we've heard what you've said, you're having these personal conversations with players that you're bringing in. Now, when you're looking at the team, you obviously have, what kind of player do I need to bring in? A guy who's a stretch 4, guys who can play defense. Now, from your perspective, you have this illustrious business career and you're very successful, and now you all of a sudden are in the world of basketball. How quick is the transition to learn, not only do I want this guy because of this reason, he plays good defense, he's a good guy in the locker room. Is this all up to you immediately? Are you the guy who's analyzing what the team needs and what doesn't? Or you have your whole team with you?
We have a system for that. We have Coach Itudis, brilliant basketball mind. We have Coach Dedas. One of the best things Dedas do is to build great teams. People don't understand that. He built a team that won front of the Final Four, the last championship. He was the builder of that team. We have George Ginas, that people don't appreciate him enough, but he's amazing in understanding the market, the players, the competitiveness, and how can they of every player, and how can they work together. And we have Danieli and Yuval Aor. They are the scouting team of Hapoel. So we have a bunch of people that are taking care of that. My job is to first understand the plan, see if they miss something in the plan, have to go into arguments with them, debates about is this the best team we can build. And what you see, the team that, and of course help them with situation. It's not that we have all the players that we wanted. I told you we wanted Goodrich and Shorts, but we missed them because of the Iranian. And after that, we lost Jabari Parker to Partizan Belgrade. By the way, they paid $2.5 million. So a lot of money even for him, and also Dozier because of the Iranian attack. Although he's a friend with Blakeney told him, no problem, play here. But you have to deal with also the limitations, and you don't get everything what is expected, right? So you have to improvise. My belief, by the way, is that you shouldn't let only the coach decide. This is also important. Why it's important? Because at some point, the coach has his own, let's say, limitations. He likes players that are more organized. For example, let's take AB, for example. AB, coach didn't let him play at all in quarterfinals against Turkey. He played 3 minutes, scored 0. But then, semi-final against Valencia, he let him play, and we know what he did then. And of course, in the final against Gran Canaria. The coach has some kind of vision that is also what is kind of convenient to him. But you also want to challenge that. Okay, it's not going to be convenient to you because AB is like a wild card. He doesn't play in structure, but he's so talented. So try to put it in anyway. So it's not. It has to be a system, and it has to be different voices that go to that get a decision. And I think we have a good system that debates and analyze and bring very good results.
If we move more into like specifics of players and basketball and everything, when we talk about signing a guy like Itai Segev, what does a player like him bring to the club?
Oh, Itai Segev we wanted last year. Because if you have Itai Segev, then what can you do? You can play with only one big. It means you can add one more guard, and then you're unstoppable in Israeli league. So Itai Segev, we tried to bring him last year. And Nestiona, I was willing to give 1.6 million shekels buyout, unprecedented. But they were greedy. They asked for 2 million. I said, guys, okay, it's enough. and we'll get him for free next year. And this is what happened. And I think he's a solid player, great defender. Maccabi Superman is Sorkin. He's kind of his kryptonite. He can stop. He can handle him very well, and to do that without to lose one of the places for imports, it's very, very important.
And Hapoel's known to have like the Israeli players, right? You bring former Celtics draftee Yamadar, and you have a guy like Guy Palatine on the rise. Bar Timur, fan favorite.
Tomer
Ginat, fan favorite. So what do all these guys bring to the team?
Blazer. Well, it's important to have the Israeli core, right? And it's important for the connection with the fans. And Hapoel is an Israeli project. When we had the discussions, me and Gili, we had discussions with Mark Tatum, the one that is leading NBA Europe. He said, "Oh, this is so nice, a very nice project. You invest. Would you like to invest in other NBA Europe clubs?" And it took us a second, but we kind of looked at each other and said, we both answered together, "No, Mark, this is our community. We want to invest in our community. We don't want to invest in Paris."
Oh, yeah.
Ask for the French guys to give you money for Paris. We want to invest in our community.
But I did see, like, you see all these posts everywhere, like rumors and talks, this country. But I see NBA Europe is invested in Israel. They want Israeli teams.
This is what we kind of pitched it to Mark. I think this is me to blame. Because I tried to explain this to Mr. Tatum. I told him, listen, if you look on, you're new to Europe, right? You're coming with the American approach, which means money, revenues, and of course what you will do, and whatever consultant team you'll take, they will look at GDPs of countries. And the big GDPs of Europe is clear as Germany, is of course UK, France, Spain, but the love for basketball or the passion for basketball is more on the side of Europe that didn't have the fortune to be part of the Marshall Program after World War II. All of Eastern Europe that used to be exactly Serbia, Greece, all of those countries. And then I told him, and then you have Israel, because Israel is a kind of a connection point. GDP-wise, we belong to the team of Germany and Italy and so on. But from love to basketball, passion to basketball, we are part of Eastern Europe. So Israel is extremely important if you want NBA Europe to succeed. And I think that convincing. And I think we will have maybe more than one team in NBA Europe.
And what will that league look like? They tell that the fans listening to this, they don't know so much about NBA Europe. Explain to them really quickly how that's going to be connected to the NBA and then what that means for the future of
It's
EuroLeague.
going to be an independent league that is going to be connected with the NBA with some kind, of tournament like a cup tournament and preparation games. But it's not that the NBA Europe is going to compete. It's not that we'll fly to compete against Boston Celtics and they're going to be NBA, then there's going to be NBA Europe. And they'll think of a way, I actually think, if this will work, there's going to be NBA Asia at some point. And I think they will try to make it connected to the NBA, so you'll have the stars coming over, but it's going to be an independent league. What you will gain from it, you will gain the access they have now to the branding, to the marketing, and also to the TV right agreements they have. League Pass. You have League Pass? You have NBA League Pass?
No, I don't.
Stream East.
Yeah.
Well, I have League Pass. I don't watch, but I have League Pass.
Making it very expensive to watch all the NBA games.
It's very expensive, right? It's very expensive. It's like paying for hot, but it's how much do you watch?
And they have $250 million contracts.
Exactly, and you have this. So they have these powerful tools. So they will have the kind of NBA Europe League Pass, and you will have TV right agreement that will bring a lot of revenues. You will need to pay something like $500 million for the license, and then you will be able to start the team.
Talking about licenses, why don't we talk about the EuroLeague License A, License B?
Yeah, let me explain about this. Currently, there is an interesting situation in EuroLeague. Let me ask you and see how many teams now in EuroLeague doesn't have a license?
6?
No.
8?
No. You know?
12.
No. Only 2. Hapoel and Monaco. These are the only 2 teams that doesn't have license. Why? Because you have the 12 teams that have the A license, like the founders of the EuroLeague, and then they have the other teams that has the B license. And they extended the B license this year because they're afraid of NBA Europe. How they extended it? And they signed the A license on a new agreement. By the way, this agreement was almost not signed. And the one that changed it was Maccabi, because Maccabi was the tipping point between going towards another direction, BC partner deal. But Maccabi changed it. I don't know why. It's something that is very, very interesting to check and to ask.
You think that they should have gone to the Champions League?
No, it's not the Champions League. There was this private equity fund, BC partner, that said, we will invest 300 million euro in EuroLeague. You will get money, we will get compensation, and we will own 30% of EuroLeague. And now we will determine, we'll start to take it on the business path, right? This is what... and Maccabi, that was for it, and they had a condition that 10 teams need to sign. Real Madrid said, no, we will wait and be a Euro. Barcelona said, we will not. But all the other teams were willing to sign, so that you had the 10, but then Maccabi changed their mind in the last second.
Really? Wow.
It's extremely interesting to check why. Because for Maccabi, to get 30 million euro now is very important because they're bleeding. So it's kind of counterintuitive.
What does that have to do with an owner at the age of Shimon? And he's amazing with what he's done, but how can he still be effective at this point in his career?
But Shimon is not the one that's taking decisions there. Danny Federman is the one that is taking decisions.
Doesn't that make it a problem with knowing who's running what?
Well, they have their problem, and they need to solve. They need to solve their problem.
And then, but we don't have to talk about the Maccabi or whatever, but we have to talk about it. The rumors flying around. Where did it come from? Like on everyone's Instagram, social media, we see Russell Westbrook to Hapoel TLV.
This is one of the funniest stories. I'm sitting in Menorah, and one of the fans says to me, "You know who could be great for next year?" I said, "Who?" I said, "Russell Westbrook." I said, "Yeah, really finish his contract?" I said, "Well, I love Russ. I think he's an amazing player. That's it." And one of the other fans heard that from behind us, and now we said, "Hey, listen. Now it becomes a rumor. All of the GM of Europe start to write me, "You're bringing Russell Westbrook." I said, "No, I don't think he understands the European basketball. He lacks the shooting from outside, so I don't think it's going to be a great fit."
So you got other GMs texting you like, "Is this real?" That's hilarious. You talk about outside shooting. That was a big problem when you brought Patrick Beverley.
Yeah, but I think what we got from Patrick Beverley is the elevation of the club. Big name coming to Hapoel, big personality. I think he also played very well, but then he got injured and then he come back and the chemistry wasn't there. And when you bring Coach to this, Coach to is also strong personality. So we had to part ways with him. And by the way, I wrote Pat after we won the Euro Cup, not immediately after, but after was the end of the Seder. So I wrote him, "Patrick, congratulations, you won the Euro Cup." Because last time he was 12 years ago, 14 years ago, he got to the final, but he didn't win. So congratulations, you won the Euro Cup. And he wrote me, he texted me back, "Elite owner, elite roster, elite coach." So he's a great guy. We were blessed to have him. And actually, Patrick is considering now to be a shareholder of Hapoel, to invest money in Hapoel. So this is something that we're negotiating now.
So when you talk about those kind of rumors, as we brought up a bunch of times on the podcast so far, basically rumors, people going around, you now are at this unique point where you understand that how important these rumors are because you're building this name and this value and this brand. Mm-hmm. And when EuroLeague fans are now talking about, oh, this guy, big contract, he might go to Hapoel, and now you're these big players in the game, how important is the media presence of Hapoel to be involved in the EuroLeague, to be something that is a continuous conversation, and how you're approaching that as an owner in an age where so many things are online, so many things are on social media, to kind of this power that you're getting on the court, you also need it on social media.
Well, we understood that quite early. I managed to, kind of create an agenda just with the social media, so I used that ability. I had what was very nice with Micić this week, just tweeting something, everybody go crazy. And then you have Nadav Zanziper that he discovered the fact that we signed Micić, and everybody called me, so no, I didn't sign, I'm with dinner with my daughter, so I wrote I'm with dinner with my daughter. After that, all the Spanish fans, they kind of talked about it. this guy just finished dinner with his daughter and he took Micić for so, he didn't even try hard. He was eating dinner with his daughter. How indifferent he to the situation. But what we understood is that we need to put also the media in a big place for the club. So we're now launching Hapoel TV. And Hapoel TV, which means we're going to have our own media tool. We're going to provide the content for our fans. And it's also important for us to make it more global, not just in Hebrew, but also in English. So if you guys want to take part of it, I think we should maybe talk business. I don't know if now, but maybe later.
We absolutely
Sounds
should.
good.
I agree.
Because there really wasn't any English media behind basketball here.
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
And now that we brought it, people are like, oh, wow, that's really cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah,
and the players
you
love
have the
it.
players, right?
The players love it.
Yeah.
You know, and like you watch, you might be playing for Hapoel Cholon, might be a great player, you know, and then you're watching Maccabi Tel Aviv, Hapoel Tel Aviv game, but it's all in Hebrew.
All in Hebrew.
You don't know what they're talking about. You don't know what's happening.
When you were starting the podcast in Serbian.
Yeah, right. That'll take some time. That'd be a good one to learn. But we're seeing this kind of emerge in the scene. So tell us a little bit about your predictions, you know, for this upcoming year. Of course, you're confident and you know think Hapoel is going to win. But tell us about what you think for the future of the EuroLeague and the actual who's going to do well, who's not. What you're expecting this upcoming season.
Well, what you have now in EuroLeague is you have a problematic situation. The problem is that you have those powerhouses, right? Who are the powerhouses of EuroLeague, you know?
Hapoel Tel Aviv.
No, we are the new powerhouse, but we were not considered a powerhouse before Micić. Who's
Real
the new?
Madrid.
Madrid.
The Spanish team,
Okay.
Real and Barcelona. Barcelona a bit less because they had less money last year.
Pana and Olympiacos.
The Greek teams, Pana, Olympiacos, and the Turkish teams, Fener
Fener
and
and
Efes.
Efes.
So you have 6 teams, and now you have
And what do you?
AS
what,
Monaco.
what about Dubai?
A new, maybe a new powerhouse. I'm not
Big
sure.
signings as well.
I'm not sure it's going to be a powerhouse yet because they need to prove themselves. But you have Monaco, that for me is a powerhouse because they managed to go to the Final Four multiple times. Last time to the final. Mike James really want to come to Hapoel. And he had like talks with Coach Itudis every night, but they wouldn't let him go. He can be indisciplined, but you want to keep him, so they kept him. I was when there was all the rumors, I was chatting with James. I know what's going on with Mike. I said, I love
They
Mike.
had
I said, okay.
like issues with their contracts and stuff with Monaco.
Yeah, he terminated the agreement. He told them that he's terminated the agreement because they fined him without giving him the right for hearing, which is kind of violation of the contract, but kind of a minor violation.
Yeah.
So he's staying.
And what do you think about these new teams? They added Hapoel Tel Aviv because of winning EuroCup.
Yeah.
What do you think about all of a sudden there's NBA Europe and now they're adding more teams randomly?
This is what I told Budiroga. They have to extend, but they extend only to 20 teams.
Right.
They should have extended to 24.
Did you think Hapoel Jerusalem should have been in there?
I called Matan. I told him, listen, the way I see it, the window is very, very short. And I want to have 3 Israeli teams in EuroLeague. So you need to move forward, apply for a B license, and he did. And I had another conversation with him a few weeks ago. I told him, listen, my friend, I know you don't like to spend, because when you go up as a son of a very wealthy guy, you always have the pressure of that they will look at you as a spender. For me, it's okay to spend, right? I made my own money. It's my money to spend. But if you're a son and as the family, everybody will look at you and they will scrutinize you. So I told him, you don't like it. I know you're very cautious about it, but you have to spend this year because you need to win the EuroCup this year. I don't think the window will be open more than the next season. And after that, I think it's over. So whatever you're trying to get, push to get it this year, and I hope you will do it. This is
It's the Dallas Mavs of Israel.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
no lack of resources there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure. So, and then another level to this is, of course, the Dubai team. So tell us a little about that. From my perspective, what I'm learning is when you talk about it, you don't want a team that's like going to quote unquote buy their way into EuroLeague. You want to earn it like what Hapoel Tel Aviv did.
Yeah.
So what's kind of your perspective on that, and maybe adding some new teams that aren't going to be winning the EuroCup before and kind of bringing it in?
Dubai is a problem because they're paying a lot for the EuroLeague just to participate. They're paying 12 million euro. And another thing that is an anomaly, they don't have taxes in Dubai. So the spending on a player is much cheaper, right? You just pay the net. You don't pay the brutto. So we need to see. I know they've built a strong team. There's not a lot, and other than a strong team and ambitious owner. So we need. I'm not sure they have a big fan base, and I think it's important. Fan base is important. So we need to see. We are in great relationship with them. We like them, and they like us, and it's going to be quite a celebration to play Dubai, and that they will come play here. Hopefully, it's going to be amazing.
So what is the talks around now with EuroLeague about bringing games to Tel Aviv this year?
As I was told many times, EuroLeague is no head, no tail. Nobody is the one that is taking the decision. I think we will keep putting the pressure in order to bring the games back, because at that point it really doesn't make sense at all not to have the game in Israel.
Does Israel or does Hapoel Tel Aviv, do you have to provide the security for these teams to come in?
It's not about security. Everybody knows it's safer. If it wasn't safer, FIBA wouldn't allow the local league to happen. Actually, by the end of last year, we were, and this is kind of thing that Danny Federman doesn't understand, we were able to bring a decision to bring the games back. How? We said, I called the Mutiunas. I told him, listen, I know you have all these problems with the EuroLeague teams, coming here, not coming here. But the main problem, what is the main problem? EuroLeague is competitive, right? And every team kind of decides for itself. So should we bring the games? Like, no, I don't want the thing. It's not about security, and even it's not about politics. It's about very simple thing. My peers, they had to face Maccabi in Belgrade. Why should I come to Menorah? It's much more difficult. So you're not fixing my rate, right? We're still going to be in the same number of wins, number of losses, and I have to face a more difficult challenge. So for me,
more difficult team as well.
No, just playing in Menorah versus playing in Belgrade. So for me, it was clear that they will not allow the games to come back during the season. So I told Baulius, I want you to pass a decision saying the games are coming back for playoff playing. And this you can move forward with. Why? Because Maccabi was not making the playoff for playing. So you will have no objection from EuroLeague team, because the thing they care about is their own competitiveness. And the second thing is that who needs to come? Eurocup teams. Eurocup teams, they are doing as they told, because they're afraid that you will kick them out of Eurocup. So this was the decision, and Alex, the VP, brought this decision, and who opposed it? Danny Federman. He said, no, I don't want this decision. I want a decision that we bring the games also of regular season. I will convince the team. And then he started to convince, and of course he didn't manage to do it, and then we don't have the games back in Israel.
We talked a lot about EuroLeague, but what's interesting is how the Winter League is run. And
a lot of changes needed there as well.
We got into it with bringing players on the podcast, and then towards the end of the season we started going more and more. And it feels like they're not interested in growing the game.
Well, it depends who. What you have a system that you have the what we call the Minhalet, which is the kind of the league management, but you also have the federation, the Igud. The Igud is useless, right? What you get from the Igud, you have the officiating of the Igud, which is extremely low level, and they don't take responsibility. There's no accountability in them if you make mistakes.
I mean, you see the same 3 refs every night. You're gonna have problems.
And they're doing a lousy job. And the second thing you have those ridiculous courts, and that
with the stickers on them.
Yeah, no, they took it to court. Of course, they reduced 1 point for us last year. I asked for exemption of that punishment at the end of the year. So now we're not going to give it to who. If you're not going to giving it to us, a club that changed 100%, who are you going to give this exemption? But it means that this side, the Igud, is political, it's corrupt, and it's not helping for Israeli basketball. And the Milet is trying to fight this. The way they will fight it, I think they should go for the big solution, which means we're starting a new league, a private league, and that's it. And the Igud, we will love to get your help with the LOCs, the letter of clearance, and that's it. We don't need anything from you. Do you know how much money you pay for referees? You pay a lot of money for referees, and still they're not professional referees. They have their day job, And who has been appointed to what? It's political. It's not has nothing to do with professional.
Do you think the league has potential as a business?
Yeah, of course. See what happened in German league. Amazing progress. French league, amazing progress. It will also happen here. Just look at the TV right agreement. Current TV right agreement, 17 million shekels. A new league, I can bring 100 million shekels. TV right agreement for a new league, new professional league. But I have enough of other stuff I'm taking care of right now. Maybe it will be fixed, and if not, maybe I'll take care of it. I don't know.
Right.
Next year.
As you go more into EuroLeague and EuroLeague becomes way more important than the Winter League, maybe there's a way.
But you still want to have a strong local league as well. And also, for that you will have the big roster.
You
right?
have what we noticed, like Kiryat Ata was in the relegation round, but in the relegation round they went 5-1. They played great together, and they're strong. They're a good team, and that's at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
And your top 5 teams are good competitive teams in Europe.
Yeah.
Cologne played really well in Champions League.
Yeah.
Jerusalem.
I think Ramat Gan, the fact that they gave Huber is something that was disgraceful because they kind of gave up their season.
He hurt you guys.
Yeah, it was my bad not to bring him to Hapoel, right? Because I had Noam, so for Noam,
right.
But I should have brought him because Noam was not about to stay. He wanted to go to lead his own team, and Huber could be a great addition. But now we have Yiftach Ziv for that, right? Another Israeli point guard.
Another big Israeli name.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, because we're not short on time, first of all, we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
We are approaching this era of Israelis in basketball across the world. Obviously, Israelis now big in EuroLeague, 2, maybe 3 teams. We're seeing more Israelis draft in the NBA. And
Go to college.
in 3 years of us being here and us doing this, the growth of Israelis overall in basketball around the world has been incredible. So from your vision, from what you see, from within being in the club and understanding a decision maker's chair, how are we going to see more of this? Are we going to see the Israelis continue to expand and do well and not only bring their talents to the EuroLeague, but also to the NBA? And what is allowing Israel and Israelis to do this on a level that other countries might not be right now?
I had a conversation with a lady that is vice president in NBA. She said one of the things you do well in Israel, you develop players in a good way. So we need to invest more in developing the players, and we have a Mekhefer that they brought up Ben Saraf. Hapoel has a good development youth, and also other clubs. Maccabi, I think also Jerusalem. We need to invest in that, and I think that Israeli basketball will grow. And you're an American, you're Jewish American. So one of the things that I think is very important is to find ways to connect the people around the world to Israel. So, I don't know, 50 years ago, we won 6 Days War, everybody's connected to Israel, want to come to Israel. But I think for your generation, to get connected through basketball is something that can be very, very interesting. And we'll try to explore. We're going to try to explore this. How can we reach out to Jewish communities around the world and create a connection to Israel and also create a connection to Hapoel.
Amazing. Wow. I just wanted to say thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your insight. And for us, it's valuable to hear every story, whether it's from a player, from an owner, from a coach, and to understand that there's so much growth and so much excitement about not only the Winter League, the Israeli teams in EuroLeague, and as I just said, the Israeli representation across the globe in basketball. So thank you for coming in today and giving us your time. We really appreciate it. We hope to stay in touch, and we hope to have an interview right after you win the EuroLeague next year.
Of course. And see you on the Hapoel TV, guys.
No, sounds
Ofer
good.
Yannay.